Welcome to Disney A, the Canadian-themed Disney travel podcast. We're your hosts.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Krysta. So, if you listen back in episode 2, we chatted about our favorite things, attractions, experiences, just whatever, in Disneyland Park itself. So today we're talking all about California Adventure, so...
The red-headed stepchild of the California theme parks. Right. No, there's still really good stuff in California Adventure. It doesn't lend itself as well to breaking out by land and all that, but we'll do our best.
Yeah, we didn't want to leave it out.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really good stuff there.
Exactly. So, but before we start talking about that, we've got a couple things that we always do at the top of every show. First of all, Brandon, what are you drinking?
Well, I am drinking the most folly of the neutral vodka soda beverages, official drink of the NHL.
How Canadian of you.
Cranberry flavor. Oh. Yeah, it's very fall, as far as that goes. It's not citrus anyway.
Yes, well, I'll take your fall claim for cranberry because I'm drinking the apple.
Right, yes, the apple flavor.
I think that's more fall than
that
cranberry.
may be more fall, but I don't really like fizzy apple juice with vodka in it, so... What can you do?
And my other question for you is, what nerd thing are you kind of liking right now?
Well, I mean, other than The Mandalorian, which just came out.
So exciting. We'll talk about that in a second, though.
Well, so for me, the nerd thing that happened this week is they finally announced the new release date for the World of Warcraft expansion, as opposed to the old one that was like last Tuesday.
Right.
That they kind of missed that one. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking forward to in November.
Right. For me, I'm going to stick with the video game thing. We're actually recording this on Halloween itself.
Ooh.
I know. But we've got Animal Crossing. Not only do we have a Halloween event going on today, and I love Animal Crossing, but my house is, one of my houses is currently done up all in Haunted Mansion, and it just really fits today, and it makes me very happy.
Very spooky.
We're actually in costume right now while we're recording this.
Yeah, we'll post some pictures.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll do better than us describing it.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Kind of awkward.
All right, but this doesn't come out until Monday, which is, of course, Mando Monday. So we just watched Chapter 9. Chapter
9, Episode 1, Season 2.
I
like how they're continuing the chapters.
Yeah, it's a continuing story.
That's fun.
We're not going to give away any big spoilers or anything like that. Just kind of first initial gut reaction to this episode.
Yeah, no spoilers. There's some spoilery stuff, so I would suggest watching it as soon as you can, or avoid the internet. I don't know.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. It was very Star Wars-y.
Yep.
And I like that.
Yep.
It was also similar in structure to Sanctuary from the first season.
Right.
The same Western trope kind of thing, saving a town sort of stuff. So I thought that was kind of interesting. They're using these Western tropes.
Yeah. It felt very Western.
Very, very, very Western, yeah.
Had a lot of nice little Easter eggs.
Little Easter egg, yeah. So the one spoiler, I will say, nothing major.
Okay.
I noticed that the droid at the very beginning...
Yes.
Was the droid that you see in the very first Star Wars movie that Luke's uncle tries to buy before he gets R2.
Yes.
R5 he tries to buy, and he busts his motivator, so then C-3PO convinces him to buy R2 instead. And yeah, he appears in this episode, so it was fun.
Yeah, that was a fun little detail. And just think, if he hadn't done that, if he'd have stuck with R5, there'd have been no Star Wars.
Yeah, so he's probably the most important character in Star Wars.
In all of Star Wars.
If he had a better motivator, we would have had a completely different movie.
As in a non-existent one.
Right.
He's really, maybe a documentary about moisture farming or something. Yeah, it was a whole lot of fun. I was really happy to be back with Mandalorian again. It was good. I really enjoyed it. And I can't wait to talk with spoilers at some other point in time.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about season
later
2 in its entirety when it's finished.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
It was a lot of fun. All right, so that brings us to today's news. Disney A News Update.
All right, so I have a couple cool news items to talk about.
All right.
While we're on the subject of Mandalorian, the first Mando Monday took place last Monday. Of course, we recorded before that.
Right.
So the biggest news I took out of that, they released a bunch of merch and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the really cool thing they announced for me was the Star Wars action figure retro collection.
Mm-hmm.
And these are 3.75-inch action figures in the style of the original Kenner action figures.
That's pretty cool.
And they had a vintage collection previously, but this is more true to that original. It has the plastic capes and the little tiny plastic accessories and stuff like that, and they'll fit in perfectly with my original collection of...
Right. I think you have to explain your original collection.
Well, I have a pretty robust collection collected from garage sales in the 90s of original Kenner action figures from the original movies.
Man, those kids who went off to university and their moms sold all their stuff, I bet they're ticked off now.
Yeah, well, it's pretty cool. So they'll fit in with those, and they have most of the characters from season 1 involved with that. No blurgs, though, sorry.
I love the blurgs.
Yeah, maybe next
one
time.
Day.
Maybe one day. And so then the other news item that came out this past week in Marvel news, the rumor is they're making another Disney Plus series, I think is the idea for it. But it's a character that I hadn't really heard of before. You probably haven't heard of either.
Okay.
A little bit of a deep cut, but we saw with Guardians, they can do pretty good with sea level characters. Moon Knight.
I don't know that one.
So it was casting news. They're in talks with Oscar Isaac, as Poe Dameron in Star Wars.
Yay!
In talks to be Moon Knight. And Moon Knight, as if you don't know who that is, it's kind of, he's very similar to Batman. He is rich and kind of brooding and all that, but he's given some mysterious powers from a moon god or something.
So not just rich and brooding.
Yeah,
Okay.
he actually has powers, unlike Batman, but...
Yeah. That's cool, and I love Poe Dameron, so I'm curious to see what that actor would do with that.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been confirmed?
It hasn't been confirmed, but it's pretty strong rumors from what I was reading.
So we're waiting on an announcement, basically.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They're just waiting for the next D23 kind of thing.
Right. Well, that's a long ways away.
Yes.
Waiting for a big announcement thing. Okay, cool. That's fun. All right, so I think that brings us to our main topic today. At the park. All right, so we are doing At the Park today, looking at California Adventure. And off the bat, we haven't been to California Adventure in a while. And actually, things have been rearranged since then.
Well, so the California Adventure's had some problems. I've only been once. You've been a couple times, but
I actually went the year it first opened, but we hadn't planned on doing it that way. It just worked out.
It's changed significantly multiple times in its history, and before and after I've gone. So we're gonna talk about what we know and what we've seen.
Yeah, and what we're would be looking forward to, and things like that. Yeah, just kind of to like a little bit of an overview. All right, and again, we're not talking specifically attractions. It can be attractions, it can be details, it can be anything. Any favorite detail from each land.
Yes.
Okay.
Which might be more of a stretch for other lands, quote unquote, than some.
I will say this before we start, though. I think California Adventure now is much better than California Adventure when it opened.
Oh, for sure.
But I mean, that's not a
bar.
That's a low bar.
That's a low bar, but they are making it into its own thing. Yeah. I think the California style thing had a place, but they didn't do it correctly.
No, I think they rushed it.
They rushed it and they cheaped out on it, and
Yeah. All right. So why don't we just kind of take turns, and I'll actually start.
Okay.
So let's start with Buena Vista Street. As we saw, Buena Vista Street is actually opening again. Ooh. Yeah, that's exciting. So there's a lot of different details in Buena Vista Street. It really is supposed to echo Main Street USA, I guess, on the other side. And actually, my favorite thing in Buena Vista Street is the storyteller statue.
Ah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in Disneyland Park itself, I love the partner statues.
Right.
Like this
very
emotional
very
thing.
famous.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I really liked about Buena Vista Street is when California Adventure opened, I was really struck by this echoing but different of that first entrance. Like you walk in, and it kind of mirrors that but different. So instead of being designed to look like Walt's hometown, Marceline, instead it looks like the 1920s in Hollywood when Walt first showed up. And I really like the attention to details there. Things like places named after Oswald and after Walt's father. But the best thing is the Echo of the Partner statue with the storyteller statue. I just really like that as a symbol of the whole era and a symbol of the whole area as well that they're going after. And since I love the partner statue so much, I really liked seeing a different version of that there.
Yeah, that statue is very cool.
Yeah.
But to be more true to the original California Adventure theming, it should have probably been made out of plastic. Like echoing Disneyland, but cheaper.
Right, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it fits now what it's more like than what it was when it
I
first opened.
I think that's a good one.
Yeah, I like that.
So what I picked is, I've never actually eaten here, but it is very well liked, and its architecture, it's one of the options to stand in as the castle of California Adventure, and that's Carthay Circle Restaurant.
Good choice.
We were booked in to go there. In our canceled trip, and so we will check it out the next time we're there. But
it was too pricey for us last time we were there.
That's true. It was
broke university students.
Yes. So yeah, that's what I picked. It's iconic and it looks like fun, and it's opening soon.
Yay! Oh man, just the lineups for that or the reservation system is gonna be crazy. I have a fun. This is not a trivia question, but I have a fun fact for you about the Carthay Circle since you said it.
Here's a fun
fact. Do you know why there's something called the Carthay Circle in California Adventure?
No idea.
Carthay was the name of the theater where Snow White first opened. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I love all those little details about the origins of Disney's success that are in California Adventure.
Like I say, I think that California old Hollywood theming was a good idea. They just
didn't execute.
They didn't execute at all.
All right. So good. We're in California Adventure now. We've walked down Buena Vista Street. Let's move over to Cars Land.
All right.
So do you want to take this one first?
Sure. Cars Land did not exist when I was there last time. But
I like Bugs Land though.
But this one was pretty easy for me. I think you might guess, but I went for Radiator Springs Racers.
Shocking.
It's the most thrilling looking ride, but it has that Disney charm with some really stunning looking animatronics, judging from the ride through videos that we've looked at,
which we've definitely watched in preparation for saying this.
Well, just in general, like I was interested into what they had done with Cars Land, and the theming there is stunning. Cars isn't my favorite Pixar movie, probably near the bottom, but it's still cute, and the theming that they've done is incredible. And as far as this ride goes, I like the branching paths and like the variants who wins the race. So like it gives you multiple reasons to go through the ride. And,
very re-rideable.
And it's thrilling for multiple levels of fun. Like you have your kids can enjoy it if they're a certain height, but thrill seekers will have fun too, and I think that's what you got to go for a Disney ride.
Right. In our episode 2 where we talked about Disneyland, we kind of said the same thing about Big Thunder Railroad. A little kid can go on it and scream and everything like that, but an adult can go on it and still have a really good time, and I really think Radiator Springs Racers is kind of the same idea for hitting all those levels. I actually said the same thing. I really like, it seems like the most themed out of all the lands. And I love, that's my favorite thing about Disney.
Until they open Avengers Campus. They're kind of backing into that theming.
Well,
so, themed, definitely. I thought you might say the Cozy Cone.
So actually, I wanted to give a shout out. I actually have written here, shout out to Cozy Cone. Yeah, we don't look at each other's notes.
Shout out to Krysta's homemade Cozy Cones. Oh my
goodness, that's really funny.
Okay, so
we might spend too much time together.
I'm gonna back up here. Okay. So I was hoping she would say Cozy Cones because during the start of this whole pandemic thing, we had a little tradition where we were making some homemade Disneyland themed food just to make ourselves feel better about missing out on Disneyland. And one of the things you made was a homemade Cozy Cone. Yeah. Which was just absolutely fantastic, and
thank you.
And I would suggest trying the real ones when you can, or look up a recipe and make your own, and they're quite delicious.
If you can't try them there, we may as well not deprive yourself until you get
But very
there.
filling.
So. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I couldn't really do a full one. They're big.
But yeah, that was definitely runner-up for me if we were going for a food thing.
That's definitely what I had too. So I also said Radiator Springs Racers. Just, I love theming. I think it applies to a lot of people. But then I said close second, shout out to Cozy Cone. Because I made recipes inspired by the Cozy Cone, especially the mac and cheese. And just, I love when even the food matches the theming.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it really does that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's move on to Grizzly Peak.
Grizzly Peak.
I had a tough one with this. Because in 2015, it took over Condor Flats as well, where Soren was.
Right, yeah, I don't know a lot about the history of the things and stuff like that, so...
So my two favorite rides in California Adventure was Soren and Grizzly River Run.
Really?
So now they're both in Grizzly Peak.
Oh, so that's a bit of a stacked land for you.
I mean, to be fair, in New Orleans Square in Disneyland Park... you have my two favorite rides in the same land there, too. So I guess that's just kind of par for the course. So Soarin' is absolutely excellent. But we've only ever done Soarin' over California. We didn't do, like, just Soarin' in general.
Soarin', period. Yeah.
And I like the controversy around that, so I'm, like, very curious to... What was funny, though, is when we were going to go in April, it was back to Soarin' over California again for Food and Wine was on at the time.
Food and Wine. Yes, we were going to hit Food and Wine.
So, I'm actually very partial to water rides. And even though Soarin' did this incredible technology and was like a class unto itself, I'm actually going Grizzly River Run. I've only been to California Adventure in the summertime. And I loved Grizzly River Run as, just like a break from all of that. We have happened to time it very well as far as not waiting in like the ridiculous lineups that can happen during the summertime.
Well, and when we were there, the really cool thing about Grizzly River Run was that it was detached from the Fast Pass system.
Yes,
so you could get a Fast Pass at Grizzly River Run and then any other Fast Pass ride at the same time. But of course, you would only know that if you were like really researchy and nerdy, so it was
like us.
Yeah, exactly. So that was
we rode it multiple times. So I'm gonna go with that one being my favorite. I know it's probably not as great a ride, but it just always made me super happy.
Yeah. So I picked exactly the same thing.
No, you did not. I thought you were gonna go Soarin'.
No. Grizzly River Run. I too love water rides. That tubular water ride usually doesn't get you all that wet. Yeah. Which is kind of a downside, except the Grizzly River Run version in Florida at Animal Kingdom, Cali River Run. I rode that and ended up getting absolutely completely soaked in November. And I actually, as I was walking off that ride, I scared several people out of line because they were like, "Holy crap, you get absolutely soaked."
And it's November.
And it's November. I mean, no, it's still Florida. Like, it's not that cold. But anyway, it was kind of funny. I like it as well. And that Grizzly Peak is the other contender for the castle. Yeah. It's in all the...
Very iconic.
It's iconic, and it's in... You see the silhouette of it everywhere. So I think that is the obvious choice for...
I think that I'm surprised you said that. I thought you were going to go Soarin' because I do love Soarin'. But yeah, I agree. That peak is just fabulous.
Yeah, wonderful.
Okay, your turn to start. Go with Hollywoodland. Now, I know this used to be called Hollywood Pictures Backlot, but now it's called Hollywoodland.
Hollywoodland.
It's your turn.
Superstar Limo. Oh,
no,
just kidding. Oh.
I remember riding that, okay?
Lucky you, because it was not around for very long.
Well, like I said, we showed up there when it first opened.
Yeah.
The summer it first opened.
I think that might be up there with the most hated Disney ride of all time.
I can't think of another one that would be more hated than that. So I think there's some contenders.
I kind of wish I had seen it in person just for fun, because it's supposed to be so horrible.
If you haven't, watch a ride through of it. It is so bad.
It is really
It won't
bad.
give you the full experience, but it's as close as you're going to get.
I don't know what
Talk about
thinking.
cheapening out and rushing.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like like literally that ride was plastic
and cardboard.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go good stuff.
For real, I'm cheating a little bit here. Technically, Guardians Mission Breakout is part of Hollywoodland currently. Yeah. It's going to be in Avengers Campus when that opens, but because it was formerly the Hollywood Tower Hotel, Tower of Terror, it's in Hollywoodland right now. So I absolutely love Tower of Terror. I'm kind of sad it's not themed Twilight Zone anymore, but the Guardians version reskinning looks pretty cool too.
If you're gonna redo
on the
something,
inside, I think the outside looked kind of stupid, but that's fine. The ride itself looks fun, and they have multiple different videos that you can see, so it has re-rideability, even if you're not a super thrill seeker.
Right.
Yeah, it just looks really cool.
I like that they changed it because I understand everything I've heard, including from you, is that the one in Disney World, the Tower of Terror, if we're just comparing the two Tower of Terrors, the Disney World one was vastly superior to the California Adventure one.
That is absolutely true.
And
the
now,
Disney World one is way better. And I mean, so, it's just the ride technology is
right.
better. Yeah.
So, like, Hollywood Tower of Terror was actually probably my other favorite ride. It just doesn't exist anymore when in California Adventure. And so I think that retheming it was actually a good idea, because otherwise even an awesome ride just doesn't seem as awesome. I also said Tower of Terror.
Okay.
However, I also have a second place, which I know you don't like. I love the animation building, like the Animation Academy, Sorcerer's Workshop, even Turtle Talk. Like, I just love that area. It is when you're in... Stop grimacing. It is one of the things that you can do that is super Disney, and it is a break from... either when, like I said, I've only been there during the summer. It's a break from the heat, a break from, although it gets kind of crowded in there, it's spread out a little bit more, so you're not standing in a huge lineup, you're actually doing something. So it's a little bit of a break, but you're still doing something fun. Like, I have, tried to draw I don't know how many things through the Animation Academy. It's fun, and I like it, and I like that detail. I like that interactivity. So although I also said Tower of Terror, since it's not really Hollywoodland part anymore, it's tough because they were going to open in July as Avengers Campus. So I said my second one would be the animation building. Yeah.
Well, if on a counterpoint to that, if you need a nap or a break, you can just head back to the hotel.
You know what? That is enough. I love the animation building. You walk in there and it has, it's super Disney, and I love it. You're wrong. Okay, so let's move to, the Pacific Wharf.
Yeah, I had to look up what this was, and it seems like it's mostly restaurants, or it's like the restaurant zone.
Yeah.
And not having eaten at any, I was like, I don't know, the Mariachi Divas sound fun. I haven't seen them perform, but I like mariachi bands. and they're
divas
all
are fun.
They're all women. That's kind of
fun.
a cool twist. Yeah. I don't know. That'd be cool. That's cool.
So for Pacific Wharf, for me, I said I don't know food. But again, I haven't eaten there.
Yeah.
It seems like such a transitional in-between area that...
I don't know why they've designated it as special at all.
Not really...
It's kind of weird.
I don't know. I just feel like that area can be part of another land.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just...
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Make a fish tacos restaurant or something that would be cool.
I wouldn't like that.
Yeah, well.
I don't eat fish, so let's just leave Pacific Wharf behind.
So let's pretend we did not visit
Pacific Wharf. We walked through it on our way to Paradise Gardens Park.
Okay, you go first.
Me for this one. All right, so this is another tough one. When I was there last, they were building the Little Mermaid ride. Mm-hmm. So I actually haven't gone on it. It's a dark ride, which I love this idea, so I'd consider it. However, because I haven't been on it, I don't want to say it. I'm going to pick something else we haven't done. It's technically the area where World of Color goes on.
I just going through the list of things, researching this, I would say that's the absolutely correct
100%.
answer.
Yeah.
World of Color looks fantastic. I haven't actually seen it in person, but the big shows like Fantasmic, it's just a good Disney time.
Totally. It says, I said here, all the Disney feels, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say that's the correct answer, but it's not the answer I said.
Oh, interesting. What did you say?
They have a microbrewery craft beer place there. Yeah. Bayside Brews.
Oh, yeah, that is part of Paradise Gardens.
And I haven't had any of their beers, but I have a feeling that some nice cold craft beer on a hot California day would really hit the spot. And even though World of Color is, like I say, probably the correct answer, I could not pass up talking about beer.
That's fair. That's very Canadian of you, actually. That's fair. So when we go to Paradise Gardens Park, when we're hanging out in California Adventure, you are making a beeline for the brewery, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm going to get me a nice little flight of beers.
That's fair. Well, I like the Spectacular. I like the the color and the music and everything like that of the World of Color, I think I would love to do a dessert party there. You can do that as part of at Paradise Gardens as part of World of Color, and I think that is just one of those things that would be on my to-do list one day.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, that brings us to Pixar Pier.
Whew.
This is a big one.
Yeah, more so, you had problems with Grizzly Peak.
Yeah.
This place is the All-Stars.
This is for you.
It's the All-Stars team of California Adventure.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
There's
too many things. Can we talk about before it was Pixar Pier, before it was rethemed all Pixar, I mean. You actually didn't have a problem with it being like a boardwalk style.
I like that style. Like I say, the style was cool, and of course the roller coaster fitting in with that theme makes more sense than what it is now to me. It was just cheap. It was just cheap.
Yeah,
it was just done cheaply.
Yeah, they like you love Disney for the theming, and they didn't like lean into the era and stuff enough. What is your favorite thing there now that it's Pixar Pier?
So you might suspect that I would pick the big roller coaster.
Yes.
But I'm not going to.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm not going to, because like I say, the theming, it's built to look like an old wooden roller coaster from Coney Island or some boardwalk like that. And it's been rethemed to The Incredibles, kind of mediocrely. The music seems like it goes okay, but it's just a junky version of Rock and Roller Coaster to me that's themed poorly. So it's fun, but I can't pick it as my favorite. No, I'm going with the ultimate thrill ride.
No.
Mickey's Wheel of Death. Or, as they call it now, the Pixar Pal Around. So I convinced Krysta to go on this ride when we were there. And I was like, look, it's a fun Ferris wheel. No, we won't go on the scary part. We'll just go on the Ferris wheel. And then we zipped into the swinging side.
So we were like rushing because they were loading that part, and there was no lineup. So I didn't notice the signs, arrows pointing which part was the scary part and which part was not.
It's a big old fun Ferris wheel, fun for the whole family, except Krysta because she was terrified the whole time.
I cried.
And it was amazing.
I was clenching the cage and almost crying the whole time. It is Mickey's Wheel of Death. I understand that it's not Mickey anymore.
Yeah, I'm gonna always call it Mickey's Wheel of Death.
It's called.
Sorry.
And that is one of the most one of the memories that stands out the most from when we went. But with fear and trepidation. Okay, so definitely not that one. I'm actually going for the Toy Story Midway Mania.
That is a fantastic ride.
Yeah, and that's great.
I wanted to pick that
pick
as well. It's kind of like a dark ride video game, basically.
It's a virtual dark ride, basically. Mm-hmm. And it ushered in this whole new technology, which was really cool. And it was very immersive, which I really liked. I didn't like the huge lineup because we went the year it opened.
Yeah, that would be a problem. But you got to spend a lot of time looking at the cool Mr. Potato Head.
That's true.
Outside.
He's 6 feet tall. I love him as a barker. Like, I just think that's super fun.
Yeah, Mr. Potato Head is a barker, and then like having someone control it.
Yeah.
That can see the people and have that interactive, almost like a stand, like a mascot that can't move around kind of thing. It's pretty cool.
Basically, I think that is what they need to, and what they're working on doing throughout all of California Adventure, right? They have this old-time California feel.
With Disney.
But making it immersive, making it Disney. I like the competitive nature of it. I like, when we were in California Adventure together, competing at this game was one of my favorite memories, so totally opposite of Mickey's Wheel of Death. And
you lost, by the way.
I did, but did you know, I didn't know this, the technology actually self-adjusts the level of difficulty.
Oh, so like little kids can still have fun. Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
You know, mom and dad can play with like little kids, and everyone is getting challenged a little bit, and I just think like that's crazy.
So what was your excuse then?
It confused me with you. I was being challenged.
Yeah, but wow.
And then I just thought we'd talk a little bit about Avengers Campus, because that was supposed to open this summer.
Right. So speaking of Midway Mania, they're repurposing that technology for the Spider-Man ride.
Yeah.
From what I can tell, I mean, it's not open and there's not a whole lot of details about it, but it looks like very similar kind of interactive shooty type of thing, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. I really like what I think they did really well with Toy Story Mania. What I hope they're doing well with Avengers Campus is they're doing something different that's not Disneyland, but it is that same level of interactivity and detail and theming, right? I'm actually really excited to check out Pim's Test Kitchen. I think that's really fun. I love the theming, and I think one way they can do that is with food. Like in Adventureland, I like the skewers and I like the Dole Whips, right? I like being totally immersed in something with food, details, everything.
Okay, so the reason why I'm laughing, I'm first of all, I'm super, super excited that they're doing a whole Avengers Land.
Totally.
Like, it's cool that they're bringing that in. They have some rights issues on the East Coast, so being able to do that in California is wonderful. And because I was able to pick the Guardians ride, cheating in Hollywoodland, I also said Pim's Test Kitchen.
I thought you were making fun of me when you were laughing.
No. So when it comes to food, I think if you're paying Disney prices, it should be immersive.
Totally.
And this is like a high concept kind of thing that is immersive, and I was really intrigued by that. Like you say, the cool stuff with skewers in Disneyland, or more to the point, Galaxy's Edge. The food in Galaxy's Edge leans more into the immersive, like you're eating Star Warsian food.
Yeah.
And
I can get a burger anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's really cool. Whether they make it work or not, I don't know.
But I'm excited to try and see what they do with it.
I'm intrigued by it. And so that's what I picked as well.
That's really funny. If I want, like, I'll hang out on Buena Vista Street. I'll hang out on Main Street USA if I just want, like, regular meals. But if I'm in one of those lands, I want to be immersed. And I think Pim's Test Kitchen is such a cool way to do it. And I think it's one of the things Disney does best when they're being super inventive about something. And, like, how can we put people into this world?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's a good way to do it. Cool. So we have a couple extinct areas. We don't need to pick our favorites or anything like that from this unless you want to. Do you have a favorite from some of these extinct areas?
Well, so you had on the list Paradise Pier, but that just became Pixar Pier. So
exactly. Maybe shout out to the original California Screaming, basically.
Yeah.
Because I like that.
It was fun. I never did go to Bugs Land. It's
really?
kind of not really my thing.
I liked Bugs Land. You know why I liked Bugs Land though? It actually felt the most themed at the time when it opened.
Maybe, but it was for kids.
And so it's tough to be a bug, like, freak me out. I like those shows and stuff like that. They used to do Honey, I Shrunk the Audience.
Okay, so I did see It's Tough to Be a Bug.
I think I went with you.
I got stabbed in the back by the bees, and that it really hurt.
It did hurt.
Stabbed me in the kidney. Okay, that was cool.
Yeah.
It hurt my kidney.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, some of us aren't ridiculously tall where it's supposed to stab you in the middle of the back. Like upper back.
What is height? I'm sitting down. What does that have to do with...
You still have tall in your torso.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, I like that part because of the theming. I think Bug's Life gets, like, forgotten about a lot in Pixar, and it's kind of too bad that it's getting forgotten about more. That being said, Cars Land looks like it is super themed and stuff like that, so I guess that, even though it's not exactly, like, the same, it is, it's giving me my theming.
It's more popular Pixar,
100%.
Especially for, like, the little kids. So.
100%. And then Condor Flats, which closed in 2015.
You said Soarin' was there.
Exactly. It got taken over.
I think that's pretty much your choice for
100%.
Condor Flats. Soarin' was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's taking that theater in the round type of idea that they had in Epcot.
Yes.
That you, of course, wouldn't have seen. But
no, but I did. It was very similar to, like, America the Beautiful that used to be in.
The surround vision.
Exactly.
But making it into a ride. And it works really well. It's very cool.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun the very first time I went on that because it was, of course, completely new technology. So that's pretty much it for California Adventure.
California Adventure, it's a smaller park, so there's less to talk about.
I have a question. Would you want more than a day there? A full day? I like doing the back and forth. Like, I like park hopping.
Park hopping is the best.
Yeah.
I would, if you had limited time in California, you probably only need one day at California Adventure, but repeat rides of the big rides, like it has more thrill rides for the big kids like myself. So I could ride Tower of Terror all day when it was Tower of Terror.
I think you might have.
Yeah, it just bounced back and forth between the roller coaster and Tower of Terror. Sure. But you don't need to do that either, so.
Right. Like, you could do it all in a day and be pretty happy. But I like the idea of park hopping where you can go back and forth and kind of like time it with parades and shows and things like that.
Time it with parades and get the most out of your day.
I really like that they're moving towards improving it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm excited for that. And I'm really excited for Avengers Campus.
And with the app, you're able to get fast passes and things like that. Yeah. So, yeah, it makes it easier.
Alrighty. So I think that brings us to trivia.
Oh.
So, last episode, we were talking all about Star Wars. Before we look at the answers for Star Wars and what you said for Star Wars, I want to give a shout out. Nobody got any of those right, first of all. But there was someone who also didn't get something right, but gave such a good guess to a previous question. I want to give them a shout out. When I asked you about a bunch of villains, and I said, what was Cinderella's stepmother's real name? And the answer was Lady Tremaine. I did have Taylor message and say, "Is it Karen?" So that one made me laugh so much, and I hadn't mentioned that before.
I think that was her first name.
Yeah, so Lady Karen Tremaine.
She was the original.
Yeah, she was
Karen.
The original
Karen. She wants to speak to the manager.
Yeah, the manager of shoes.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So last time I asked you a couple questions. I asked you, first of all, how old is Yoda? And this is what you said.
He's not 900 years old.
And you're absolutely correct.
Of course.
Oh yeah.
I could have said the whole quote.
800 years.
Not so good you will look when 900 years old you are.
Yeah, so I saw by the confidence with which you answered that and all the extra details you supplied that you knew you were right on that one. Yeah. So I had to give you a super tricky one, and it is a trick question. I know you hated it, and I did ask you about Yoda's first name, and this is what you said.
Yoda's first name?
Yep.
Master?
Maybe.
Yoda is his last name? Are you making this up? I don't subscribe to whatever this question is, because this is malarkey.
So what would be
malarkey?
Okay, so Yoda does not have a first name. You're absolutely correct. He's like Cher. But one of the names that was originally discussed for him instead of Yoda was Minch. So a lot of people think that his name is actually Minch Yoda. That is not correct. It is just Yoda.
Here's the thing. George Lucas is absolutely terrible with names.
Yeah.
You look up some of his spec names, even in for the sequel trilogy, he had some really, really goofy names for people.
Really?
So,
I'm curious about some of those. We should look those up sometime.
Yeah. Oh well.
Well, I'm sure you know them, but we should look it up I should look it up sometime. All right. So that means it is now your time to ask me, and please be kinder than I was to you.
No.
No. It's my fault. Okay.
Wait, well, you were kind to me. Those were, wow.
I was kind to you.
Except for the Yoda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was still right on that.
You were right with both.
So, yes. I'm going to ask you some very timely questions.
Okay, all right.
In response to The Mandalorian being released, I'm going to ask you questions about the original Mandalorian.
Uh-oh. Okay.
So.
All right.
Boba Fett. The original Mandalorian.
Okay.
I'm going to start with an easy one.
You think it's easy. So when you say it's easy, it means that when I'm going to look stupid for getting it wrong.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
You asked me Disney, like, deep cut Disney questions.
That's not deep cut.
Whatever.
I can get deep cut with you.
Okay, so.
Okay.
What is the name of Boba Fett's ship?
I have no idea.
Oh.
See, this is what I'm saying. You say it's easy. I can picture it, but I don't know what it's called.
That's a very easy one. So yeah, send in your answers.
I have no.
And make fun of Krysta.
Yeah, I can totally picture it, but I don't know what it's called. No.
Okay. Well, okay. Moving on. Moving on.
Okay. How's that easy?
When was Boba Fett's first appearance?
Oh, in the Christmas special. In the holiday special. I guess it wasn't the Christmas special, but it was the holiday special for Life Day. There's like a little cartoon that the little mini Chewbacca son watches.
Lumpy,
thank you. I was like, oh, that Lumpy watches, and he's in there. Do you think I'm right? Better send in your responses.
I don't know.
And if I answer that with confidence, so if I'm wrong, feel free to make fun of me there too.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. And so then this one, in spirit of your stupid Yoda question.
Oh no, that means okay.
What was George Lucas's original plan for Boba Fett's relationship / like who was he related to?
What?
What character was Boba Fett supposed to be related to in George Lucas's original draft?
What?
Just make a guess. It's a famous character.
Okay, so it's one of the leading ones.
Yeah, so
okay.
Like think back to the original trilogy. Who could Boba Fett
Han Solo.
Be related to? Han Solo. You're guessing Han Solo.
Well, they like to shoot things.
And what was he? Han Solo's nephew? Or?
Han Solo's like cousin. I don't know.
Lone Ranger's cousin's horse, Victor.
Yeah, Victor. Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that.
You know what? Also, if you know what that is from, yes, if you know what that is from, you should message us.
Yes.
Because that's amazing, and we should be friends. Okay. Do you have any more? Please tell me you don't have any. Oh, thank God.
That's my Boba Fett trivia.
It's related. That's crazy. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Do you have anything else to add as far as thoughts on Mandalorian or thoughts on California Adventure or anything like that? Are we pretty good for today?
I think we're good. I'm looking forward to visiting California Adventure.
I know.
Avengers Campus especially. And Mandalorian was great. I'm excited for the rest of the season.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
That's just like the whole series so much fun. Okay. So that's our show for today. Thanks to El Mule. He's responsible for our awesome custom theme song that you heard at the top of the show. You can find a link to his work at our website at disneya.wixsite.com/podcast. And you can also find us on social media. Instagram at disneya.podcast, on Facebook at disneya, and Twitter at disneyapodcast. Again, should probably have them all the same.
Yeah, well, some things are taken and, you know.
We love to hear from you, and I'm curious to hear about your answers to our trivia. You can also find Disney A episodes on all of your favorite streaming platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, any of them pretty much.
All the podcasts.
All the podcast streamers. So please review our podcast, follow, but review our podcast, especially if it's like a super high rating. That would be good.
Yeah, mainly just if it's a high rating.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'd love to hear your feedback on our website.
Or email or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so subscribe to our podcast. If you know someone who might like this, please be sure to recommend Disney A to them. We're trying to expand our reach, so it would really help us out a lot. Join us next week when we chat about, we're going to start talking about each decade in Disney history.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and we figured we'd kind of do one a month. So we're actually going to start that next week. And so we're going to start about the films that started it all, as well as some of the cartoons leading into it. So pretty looking forward to that.
Yeah, so this ties in very well with how content is organized on Disney Plus. If you didn't know, if you go to the search menu, there's an option to go Disney through the decades.
Yes.
And that's basically what we're going to go through each month.
Yeah, so I started a while ago watching every single cartoon, but they kept putting on new stuff, and I'd have to go back, and I wouldn't get very far. Now we're just watching the films. But we're going to talk about kind of the through the decades, looking at the earliest of Disney on Disney+. So, that's next week. I'm Krysta.
And I'm Brandon.
And so until the next adventure, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Thanks for listening to Disney A.